Welcome to another amazing episode of Getting Open. I'm your host, Andrea Miller. If you are stressed and worried due to all of the stress, worry, hate, and unpredictability in the world, or if you're simply trying to be your best, most authentic self, this amazing show today is especially for you. My guest explains how to leverage the ultimate power source. Just in time for Valentine's. Yes, we're talking about the power of your heart. Let's get into it. I am so excited this Valentine's week to introduce Deborah Rozman, PhD. Deborah is the president and co-CEO of HeartMath, Inc. She is a behavioral psychologist who helped develop HeartMath's programs to facilitate a more resilient and heart-based world in our families, at work, and with clients and patients. HeartMath tools, training, and certification programs teach scientifically validated techniques for emotional self-regulation and internal energy management to improve health and well-being and so much more. And I'm just going to start by saying, I think you know this, Deborah, I am totally obsessed and amazed by HeartMath's offerings. I heard about you guys a long time ago, but only really dug in, 8, 9, 10, 12 months ago. And honestly, it is just incredible to me how my heart and mind has been opened to just the vast opportunity to improve our lives through your research, through your techniques, through your tools, and so forth. And because it's Valentine's, and this is the heart episode of Getting Open, I'm just so grateful that you said yes and are a guest on my show. So welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm just really honored to be here and to share the heart.
Yeah, we got it. That's it. That's today's episode and the power of the heart. So let's just start with setting the stage. What do you guys at HeartMath do? And I realize that could be like a 2-hour answer.
Right.
But just kind of in summary, and I've got about 1 million questions after that for you.
Yeah. Well, our founder, Doc Childress, started HeartMath with a core group of us 30 years ago with the vision of what's happening on the planet now, the increase of stress and the increase of anxiety and the need for a simple user-friendly system, not based on religion, but based on science and physiology of how we can actually release stress, manage our emotions and reactions to have more fun and fulfillment in life. And that started with researching how the heart, brain, nervous system talk to each other. And then HeartMath tools, techniques, published research studies all evolved from that technology to see what's happening in your heart rhythm pattern when you feel different emotions and how to build resilience and really transform stress and live your best life.
Amen. And I'm here for it all. So let's dive in a little bit more deeply. So you guys talk a lot about heart coherence. What is heart coherence and how can we get more of it?
Yeah. Well, heart coherence is an optimal state where your heart, physical heart, brain, nervous system, body are all in alignment and synchronization. And that came out of our research way back, published in the American Journal of Cardiology in 1995, that showed that our heartbeat rhythm, the beat-to-beat changes in heart rate, reflect our emotional state. And it's like, wow. So you can get a window into your heart rhythm pattern measured by heart rate variability, which has become very popular these days. But we don't look just at the amount of heart rate variability, which reflects resilience and recovery. We look at the pattern over a few seconds, minutes, and you can see when you're stressed, frustrated, anxious. It's a real jagged, chaotic pattern of the interaction of your parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system. It looks like a jagged line, which is about how you feel inside when you're stressed.
Like the teeth of a shark.
Right. And when you're feeling love, care, compassion, calmness, appreciation, when you're in your heart and feeling at ease, the heart rate variability, heart rhythm pattern turns into smooth rolling hills. Now you can use HeartMath techniques, which is a combination of heart-focused breathing and activating a feeling of gratitude or kindness or even calm. As you synchronize your breathing rhythm and your heart feeling, your heart is sending a different signal through the vagal nerve to the brain that synchronizes it, and you start to see these rolling hills. So you can get the heart biofeedback. So we developed technology for people to do that, to help fine-tune how they can manage their perceptions and reactions and live a more balanced, coherent life. So heart coherence is that smooth rolling hills. It's a coherent waveform in physics. We call it heart coherence.
Yeah, and I'm going to give credit to Dr. Joe Dispenza. I think he's the one that really helped me become that much more aware about the power of heart coherence. And in your book, Heart Intelligence, which we'll come back to, I love how you guys talk about um, how it's like adding gratitude to your meditation is like meditation on steroids, right? And that's what's been so interesting to me as a practitioner of mindfulness and somebody who's always seeking um, to feel and do better in my life. And so learning more about your methodologies, this idea that adding gratitude and compassion really very intentionally does change our physiology, right? And that, in fact, I could reel off all your research, just about. I'll try not to nerd out too much over here, but even reading how you guys talk about there are more nerve connections going from our hearts to to our brain, than from our brains to our hearts, which was really surprising to me. You guys talk about how our hearts are in fact a mini brain, and we can get more into that in a few minutes. But just going back to the tools you have, I would just love, because you've got, in fact, for anybody watching, I'm going to show you my little inner balance HeartMath box, and I've got the cool little sensor
Wow, I
here.
know.
I got it.
Thank
And I
you.
am going to give a little shout out to my son, who is an elite athlete. He uses this to improve his performance. And we'll come back to that, because there's like Steph Curry and Michael Jordan, and all these people are advocates of meditation. I mean, Tiger Woods, Serena Williams, the list goes on and on. What's been awesome in our family is that using your device and tools, you can quantify it so much more. And, as somebody I've done transcendental meditation, i.e. TM, and other form, Dr. Joe's meditations and so forth, which are great. But the idea that you can actually quantify what is happening physiologically, and that our physiological and emotional parts of us, of course, we are one being, but that you guys have created a way to actually monitor and measure that, to me, is mind-blowing. And I don't know if there's anybody else that's doing that, but it's really incredible.
Well, thank you for that. You speaking from direct experience, and that is what people are discovering with the aha. They have more agency or control over their reactions, their emotions, by having the heart biofeedback, and that enhances the higher performance states, because as the heart signals the brain, it goes all the way up to the frontal lobes, where we improve decision making, perception, flow states, reaction times. All the things you're talking about for health and performance is really critical to understand the heart has a role in that, and we can interact with that. Because, yeah, most people were taught the brain controls the heart. It's a two-way dialogue. And when that dialogue gets out of sync, my heart's telling me one thing, my head's telling me another, which happens almost subconsciously at times, we feel scattered, we get brain fog, we feel upset and anxious, and stress reactions happen. If we can learn how to reset, reboot, then we can come into alignment and perform better, have those flow states. And that measuring it, like measure your meditation so you know you're on track, you're in the pocket, really enables people to do a very important thing. and that is to increase their coherence baseline so that that starts to have a carryover effect and work for you. You're accumulating resilience, you're accumulating intelligence. That's what we call heart intelligence. You're connecting more with your intuitive guidance. You're becoming more of your best self in a systematic way through being able to measure your coherence.
I mean, totally. Well, I want to ask like 7 questions at once. One at a time, Andrea. Don't get too excited. Just going back to the flow, you know, and of course, people are going to be listening to this or watching the show coming from different perspectives. What I love is, you know, in your book, you talk about bringing in the Navy SEALs and helping people understand, you know, Navy SEALs getting trained. I mean, talk about like the ultimate, you got to be on your game if you're a Navy SEAL like nobody else, right? And then high performance athletes, and then, you know, just us moms, who, you know, all of us in the many roles that we play, to your point, can benefit from that continued practice. And like you say, it builds resilience. And so I really, for folks listening and watching, I just really want to emphasize out of the gate, and team building. I mean, when I think of the examples that you guys share and other places that I've read, it's like how to build coherence, not just internally with myself, but with teams, right? And even, you know, I feel like you guys use some sports examples as well. So it's sports teams and, you know, back to this whole business of being in a flow state where you've got the clarity, you've got the problem solving, you've got, you know, because you're much more in your prefrontal cortex, right? Able to access the most creative best self that you reference versus when we're stressed out. And, you know, I'm a pretty high strung type A person. So I think it's why I've gravitated so much to this, because I know when I'm operating out of my amygdala and I'm in much more of a fear based, stressed state, I don't do so well.
You're absolutely right. You know, especially with what's happening in the world these days, we can get intensified, triggered. It's really hard to not, because there's so much uncertainty and fear. You can learn to come back to center and come back to that calm place inside and be able to move forward with more poise and dignity and resilience when you get your heart and brain in sync and aligned. Then you're connecting more with your heart's intelligence, your intuitive guidance of what would be most effective for me to do right now. That would be best for me, my family, the wholeness. You can get that kind of clarity and feel like you can move forward more in a state of ease rather than a state of angst. And it's so important for us right now to be able to do that because we're challenged with a lot of uncertainty.
Oh, you're not kidding. Well, and I just want to jump on that and say, like, if each of us did that, if each of us just said, I'm going to do my part, not only would each of our individual lives be better. I mean, let's face it, there's a whole bunch out there that we can't control. But I know even when there's stress around me, when I'm in that coherent place, and by the way, folks, I I feel a tingle in my body. I mean, and it's like, oh, things are storming around me. But again, I put it out there. I'm a very type A, high strung person. So my natural state is to be a little chaotic. And so I think it's also why it's this, you know, these discovering all this has been such a game changer for me and people around me that I love that are using these techniques and so forth. Is that like you said, Deborah, it brings the agency back to you. And while there's plenty outside of us that we can't control, the fact that even if things are rough around me, I can still feel gratitude, like that's the ultimate power move, right? And then I'm empowered to actually do amazing things and maybe be part of the solution rather than sitting here and, you know, clutching my pearls. Like this is the ultimate empowerment.
2 things you said I want to underline. One is the team synchronization. I mean, we see sports teams, each person, like the Houston Astros, years ago, before they won the World Series, had our technology in the dugout, getting in sync within themselves and with each other. And it's amazing. We see executives doing that. We see students doing that. So the ability to get synchronized with your family in the heart, it's really fun, or couples. So it's really important way to cut through a lot of relationship incoherence, to be able to get back on the heart together and communicate from that deeper, more intelligent, intuitive place with each other. And I could go into stories about that. But then also what you're talking about in terms of the agency, that being able to self-regulate is so key right now to not draining energy, because we can be exhausted at the end of the day from a series of fear or stress reactions or judgments of others, trying to protect ourselves. That really holds us back. We want to be able to access more of our larger self, our higher potential. And coherence is like a baseline for being able to do that. So it's incredibly powerful for where people are, like you're saying, able to do. And it's you doing it. It's not the technology doing it to you. It's giving you the guidance. Or like we have a new HeartMath app that has over 30 years of HeartMath content and techniques and methods, and for improving sleep and brain fitness and meditation and more in it, videos, audio programs, the Art Intelligence book. People can now get that on their smartphone. So our vision is, let's see if we can raise the baseline shift of coherence in families, workplaces, on the planet, because we really need to do this. You talk about gratitude. I used to think gratitude was a sweet thing. It is power, because it what creates that coherence that signals the higher intelligence. So love, kindness, care, compassion, gratitude, these heart qualities, sincerely felt, are access codes to our intuitive intelligence. They're smart moves to practice. And when you see yourself practicing those feelings, those attitudes, with the breathing rhythm, the coherence breathing, and you see it on the app, you feel the shift, see the shift, and you're empowered. So gratitude is a power tool.
It is a power tool, sister. I mean, like big time. And, and I'm just going to add a little from my own experience. And by the way, any stories you want to tell, you are welcome. Stories are such a great way to give, just really give that much more color. But, my own little one is, again, just when I think about there are plenty of times where I'm like, oh God, this sucks. Like whatever it is, and I'm like, okay, let me find the gratitude. And it is amazing to me. And I've been doing it for not years, guys, like months. And how quickly I can shift now from this sucks mentality to this is awesome. I'm going to figure it out. Right. And that like mindset is everything. And again, no matter what role we're in, whether we're an executive or mom or like any role we play, athlete, you name it, I feel like that is the ultimate empowerment, being able to shift from, fear and scarcity and being in our sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight, to that one, like you say, where we're able to access our heart intelligence. I mean, that's to me, genuinely the best leaders exhibit that quality. I mean, it's like infectious in the best way.
Yes, it is. Well, it feels good, and so it reaffirming when we're in our heart, life looks different, totally different. And if we can learn that we have that wide angle lens that you're describing at our fingertips, it gives us so much more hope. And as we do it, we gain more and more confidence and inner security and the ability then to move forward and create.
Well, yeah, and create and problem solving. I was just going to pick right up there because, oftentimes it's like, oh, I've got all these problems and again, life sucks. And that, I mean, it's like if you say so, right? Henry Ford, whether you think you can or you can't, either way, you're right. And so when I think about our ability to harness the vast power of our hearts, and it's interesting to me because the media industry has been advocating mindfulness and meditation practices for many decades. What's interesting to me is that there isn't more of a, if you will, like, why do we call it mindfulness? Like heartfulness, you know what I mean? Like, or like something that really kind of calls out that it's not just up here, in your in the cerebral part, but that really, like you say, that the connection between the two, that's where the superpower exists.
Absolutely. Well, I look at it like we've been so stuck as a society in the head and the mind. The mindfulness is a stepping stone because you're practicing quieting the mind to become more aware of your sensations, of what's going on. But even the mindfulness movement has moved much more to the heart. Loving kindness is such an important part of it. And the research on heart radiation, that our feelings create a wave from the heart through the heart's electromagnetic field, that we pick up each other's vibes. It's through the heart field.
That was going to be my next question. Vibe is real, everybody. It's not just a thing on a t-shirt or a hat, like high vibes only or good vibes only. You guys literally have the research that shows our electromagnetic spectrum or fields are, what is it, many times bigger from our heart than our brains. And that we as human beings, unconsciously or subconsciously, I'm not even sure exactly how, but there is a physiological perception of sorts, right? That I can feel your vibe, you can feel mine, and it's real, and you can increase it or you can decrease it. Why do you think that it really is a matter of your electromagnetism, which you can impact by using HeartMath, and I mean other techniques too, but HeartMath really emphasizes that heart-brain coherence. Why do you think this is not better known?
I think that we've reached a point in society, in science, in our lives, where the mind has gotten us here. And look where we are. It's time for the heart. The mind and the stimulation was all part of evolution, going from where we were thousands of years ago to this, all the technology and the developments and the creation and the intellect. Now it's time to bring the heart back. And religion tried to do that, but it ended up getting into all sorts of cultural trappings, and the mind started taking over what the founder said. And it's just part of the limited awareness that we had. But now there's new opportunity to realize that it's about love. And it's been said, but now we have to practice it. We have to do it. We have to open the heart. We have to activate the heart, because science is showing us our emotional state broadcasts through. Think of your heart as a radio transmitter and receiver. That's how we're picking. And science has proved it's not an aura, it's an actual electromagnetic energy, like a cell phone. Your cell phone broadcasts. This is what we are. We have an antenna in our operating system, and science and the mind has discovered all this. And what's it doing? It's telling us go back to the heart. It's simple. The heart qualities of love, forgiveness, kindness. Every major religious enlightened
Well, and
founder
the
talked
mystics.
about that.
Yeah, I mean, and again, in your book, Heart Intelligence, you guys talk about just how it's like this was known a long time ago, and then it's almost like, and I'm not a great historian, but I think of the Renaissance and I think of the Industrial Revolution, and particularly in America, that there was this absolute obsession with our minds, right? And then it was like, okay, the heart, like we think of the heart as this quaint romantic center, but it's almost more like on a Hallmark card, right? And now, with you guys at the forefront, it's nah, it really is. It's like, it is so much more powerful. And you guys talk about, like, if you ask a child, like to point to where they are, and they point to their hearts. And, I feel like there is, like, intuitively, we all kind of know that, but I feel like societally we have been inclined to kind of, suppress that intuition a little bit.
Right. Well, the energetic heart that you're talking about and the physical heart, like the heart rhythm pattern, we are connected. And seeing that point of connection and being able to activate that, that's where we feel our deepest sense of being. And that is what we're exploring and discovering and have been at HeartMath. That's what we call it, the math of the heart. for the last 30 years. And now more and more people are looking at our research and other research and going, wow, the mind took us here. So that was all meant to be. But now it's like humanity is not going to survive or evolve unless we invoke and involve the heart, because that's what the human operating system is set up for. And unless we activate the qualities of the heart that make us feel connected rather than separated and polarized, which the mind does because it has its opinions and beliefs and how it was brought up and what it
Well, it tends
thinks.
to protect us at all costs, right?
Right. And whereas the heart knows we're connected, the heart knows because it's coming from another dimension of awareness. And we want to open up that dimension, whether you call it the quantum field or something else. And love is the activator. Love is not just some sweet Valentine's Day. It
It's a
is
superpower.
qualities of care, compassion, kindness. I like our founder says, think of love as a pie. And all those heart qualities are like slices in the pie. They're all frequencies, they're all part of the wholeness. So, one of the things that we're focusing on now at HeartMath is how do we help love go viral? How do we help this new understanding of the heart go viral? How do we reach 1 billion people to get into their hearts because they know that's who they really are and that's what the world needs? And that's going to make the next level of the mind enlightened and make us all move towards who we truly are as individuals and as a collective humanity. And so it's a big passion of ours. We've got a retreat coming up in April called Love Unleashed and the Magic of Heart-Based Connection. And Dr. Joe is speaking there live, as well as some other people who all know we need to get coherent and it's time to reach people. So that's where the HeartMath app is. Everybody on a smartphone, billions of people have smartphones, can access this app. There's a free coherence trial experience. You can get the feeling of it. Then there is a subscription so that we can keep adding content. But that's our vision of one way. And all other groups, I saw a football game this last weekend, Baltimore and the Bills, and the back of their helmet said, choose love. I was like, great, it's getting out there, it's in the air. People know we need that because we all know deep inside. So all HeartMath is offering is a methodology by which we can manage our emotions and minds and actually choose love instead of choose stress.
Amen. I mean, love it. So just real couple of quick things, and I want to come back to this. So Love Unleashed, Dr. Joe, and I'm sure because you guys are connected brilliantly to so many other thought leaders and great speakers, is that something people can access online or is it in person only?
Both live and virtually. And I can give you the link. People can go there and register. The live is filling up quickly. Jack Canfield speaking. I'm speaking. Dr. Roland McCready is going to give our latest research at Harvard Institute. Howard Martin is speaking. Mimi Garneri, who wrote The Heart's Code, she's a famous cardiologist, is speaking. And virtually, we can take 1,000 people. And in person, we can only take about another 80 people here in Santa Cruz. But you can go to the URL and learn more about it and sign up.
All right, so we'll put that in the show notes, Love Unleashed.
And
And
if
go ahead.
people want to get this sensor, it comes with lifetime access to the HeartMath app, which is, like I said, 30 years of content and training of how to do all this and how to get to greater coherence.
And okay, so the apps that you guys, so if someone is like, okay, I'm really curious, Andrea, Deborah, good job, you got my attention. I know you guys have Intercom, like you have 2 or 3 apps. Is their best bet just to go directly to the HeartMath app?
It's got the best onboarding training if you're new to all this. So that's what we designed it for, to reach millions more people, to hold their hand of how to use it. And activates the camera of your phone as a sensor where you can get a feel of it, even if you don't have the high-end sensor. And that's wonderful. That means anybody can measure their coherence. And there's a 7-day free trial. Go to your HeartMath, your favorite app store, Google Play Store, the App Store, download it and experiment. See what's there, play around with it. but especially do the onboarding of how to see your coherence level and how to learn basic HeartMath technique to increase your coherence. And it gives so many people the wow factor. Then there is the onboarding, the initial program, 7 days to greater coherence. Practice that for 7 days. Then decide if you want to keep going and subscribe or not. But I encourage everybody to try it, to experience what you and I are talking about.
Well, totally. And if I recall correctly, I mean, this subscription is less than for at least a lot of psychotherapists, like less than half of a session with the psychotherapist. So while there's a small subscription fee. In fact, let me actually just jump in and say, we all know this, but I'm just going to say it again because it is Valentine's and this is our heart edition of Getting Open. Stress is the silent killer. Heart disease is the number one cause of mortality for both men and women. And, yes, of course, our diet, how physically active we are, those are impacting our heart health. But the truth is, we've all heard it, but I feel like it's like wallpaper that stress is the silent killer. I say, take your life back by being kind to your physical heart. And it's like, oh, as a bonus, you get to be happier, have better relationships,
It's just people haven't been educated. We don't learn in school how to handle our emotional feelings and reactions. You don't want to repress them. You don't want to vent them. You want to understand them. You want to be able to shift when you feel anxious or frustrated into a more centered place, activate something that feels better to yourself, which is going to give you new perception, a bigger picture.
Yeah, better problem solving, more creative.
Mm-hmm. Right. And so the heart is your power source. Not only runs the brain and body, it actually is your power source to shift your emotions and attitudes and perceptions to see.
I like that. Your power source. Oh my gosh, it reminds me, for anybody who's a fan of the Transformers, I am because my kids are 12 and 15. They call it like the inner chip or something. I don't know. If our producer Dane knows, you can chime in. It's literally
the Allspark.
Allspark, yeah. We got the Allspark. Yeah, that is your power source. Totally, Deborah. And that, this idea that kindness and compassion and love are kind of nice to haves. But when I think about these, again, elite teams like the Navy SEALs, like sports teams, executive teams and so forth that are achieving incredible things. And you can achieve a lot through fear and scarcity. You definitely can, but you're going to enjoy it a whole lot more. And I would contend and I think the data proves this out, are going to be more successful if you choose the path of love, abundance, compassion, right? And it's again, physiologically, being in fight or flight wears you down. When you're in your sympathetic nervous system, it makes you tired. It makes you look old,
80% of doctor visits to primary care physicians are for stress-related complaints, and we have over 15,000
80%. 80 people.
Yeah, we have over 15,000 pre and posts within 6 weeks of people practicing these HeartMath techniques in companies and where we've gotten these hospital systems that we train nurses in. They go from huge 60% reductions in anxiety, 50% reductions in depression, 30% improvement in sleep, and a whole host of physical benefits that then cascade into reduced blood pressure. I mean, it's all linked in. That disease so much comes from nervous system dysregulation that builds a stress accumulation that results in hormonal immune system imbalances that results in chronic diseases. And if you can begin to practice coherence, the health and wellness benefits are huge. And let me tell you, the Navy SEALs and the military that use HeartMath techniques and technology, it's not just the sweet stuff. Oh, we need to love more. Most of them need a bridge to that. The heart rhythm coherence happens with other heart qualities like respect, like calm, like ease, like let me get into the attitude of flow, Let me just have the wider perspective of situational awareness where I can choose connection. I mean, you don't even have to use the compassion, kindness, love words yet. You can use the other more masculine, if you will, words that are heart qualities, like pride in what you're doing. There's so many that activate coherence. So which is the goal? You want to activate that heart rhythm, smooth rolling hills, coherence, which is the power to synchronize your brain, your nervous system, and your connection to your larger self.
I mean, 100%. And I appreciate that. It's like it's a nice, I don't want to say twist, but kind of even broader explanation of how these different qualities emerge from that, that decision to ultimately self-regulate. I mean, that, ultimately that's what I feel like it comes down to. And I was nodding my head vigorously because when I think of, and you said it, but I can't underscore it enough, chronic pain, chronic conditions, just the anxiety and so forth, that there is so much evidence from you guys and elsewhere that these outcomes that so many of us have been willing to accept can be transformed and even completely eliminated through techniques like the ones that HeartMath teach. And that, honestly, I'm thinking over here, hey, United Healthcare CEO, get HeartMath techniques and devices for all your customers. Like, really, like, hello, I'm going to big shout out. I mean, let's face it, the health insurance companies are in the crosshairs. That's probably a terrible thing for me to say, but I mean, but I genuinely, when I think of practically, like the most practical thing you can do is this kind of technique, and not just meditation, but like loving kindness meditation or respect meditation, calm, something that really calms your nervous system so you can be the best version of yourself. It is the most, like, I bet that it is the most kind of, I mean, you can do it for free or almost for free. It is one of the best things that you could do, to improve your life and everything that you impact.
We have thousands and thousands of health professionals who have taken our HeartMath clinical certification program, used the technology, and prescribed it to their patients. We are just starting to partner with a company that, if you have, our listeners have a HSA health savings account or FSA, they will be able to get the inner balance sensor reimbursed.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay.
Yeah, and that's coming. Again, it's quite well known in the medical community that low heart rate variability, which is how we measure coherence for your age, is a predictor of all-cause mortality.
Hang on, say that again.
Low HRV for your age is a predictor of all-cause mortality. Because you're creating the dysregulation of the immune system, the hormonal system, the whole body gets out of whack. So it ends up in chronic diseases. The fact that in 6 weeks, people said they had the symptoms of anxiety, depression, sleeplessness, often to always, had those dramatic improvements in just 6 weeks, is showing that you can reboot your system. That's the hope. That's what I want to tell everybody. You can reset and improve your health and well-being and longevity, as well as your intelligence.
Well, problem solving, creativity, and you just enjoy your life more. I mean, I lived my life with a lot of stress. I'm not going to lie. And you can see it. You can see it on my face. And now I'm like, oh, I don't have to do that. And sure, I still have bad days, or I still have experiences that like kind of suck. But I now have so much more agency to go, okay, what can I do with that? Right. And that is a superpower.
Your heart. That's your heart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I love that. I just want to rewind to HRV for just a minute, and then I'm hoping we'll have time for you to, because it's Valentine's and because this is a physical practice, I would love for you to walk us through a little a little like meditation or something that, just will give us a taste. But I just want to rewind to you were talking about HRV. You described it a little while ago. It is really one of the most kind of buzzed about things in health and physiology. Can you just rewind a little bit? And I even get confused. It's like you're supposed to have you want high HRV, right? But you don't want to jag it. So can you just give us like a little, like for people like me that are a little confused, what do we need to know about HRV? And I don't have a smartwatch, but a lot of people do, so they can watch their HRV and now you can teach them how to impact it. But talk a little bit more about that, if you don't mind.
The HRV that you'll get in smartwatches or wristbands measures the amount of HRV, which is important for health recovery. And how do you increase that amount? So much of it is related to your age. There's a natural age-related decline in HRV. You have the most when you're young, and it's directly connected to your flexibility, emotional and physiological flexibility. So we wish the smartwatches could measure coherence, but it can't because it's just taking a snapshot. That's why our technology, whether it's the camera sensor in your smartphone or the inner balance coherence sensor that you held up, is actually measuring like a very fast at 500 hertz is that sensor, where you're getting the beat to beat to beat changes in heart rate is continuous. And that continuity creates a pattern. And that pattern is reflecting your emotional state. You won't find that in the smartwatches that are measuring the vertical axis. And yes, the high HRV is healthier and it's quicker to flexibility and recovery. But it's not showing you, if you start managing your emotional state, and you start creating more coherence in your heart rhythm, in your HRV, more synchronization between your heart and brain, over time, that improves your HRV amount. And that can be significant for health and well-being. So you want to start with the pattern. That's why HRV coherence is the key to emotional empowerment, to heart empowerment, we call it, to all these benefits we've been talking about. And within 6 weeks, improvements in health, wellness, performance.
And Deborah, how long are we talking about? Are we talking like an hour of meditation a day, 20 minutes?
Actually, people have experienced this with 5 minutes of heart coherence training each day.
Okay, turn off the camera real quick. Go do it, everybody, and come back in 5 minutes.
Because what that's doing is training you to know where to go back to inside yourself when you're not using the technology. You're not getting the feedback. There are techniques you use in the moment. When you start to feel stress and reactivity, you use the quick coherence technique I'm going to teach everybody. And you start to use the technique that you practice 5-10 minutes a day with the app or the sensor, and you start to build that recognition of where to go, so that you can go into heart coherence without the technology, and you need it in the middle of that meeting that you're reacting to, or you just sent that email you wish you could take back, or you had that you're
having a hard conversation, whatever those things are, right?
Right, or what we call to prep and reset. Prep before one of those conversations. And then afterwards, if things go wonky, how to reboot and reset right in the moment. That's what saves energy. That's what enables you to have better sleep at night and not get depleted.
Yeah, no, it is incredible. I mean, and here's the thing. I've long said, and a lot of us have, like, our minds are more powerful than we realize, but it really is, it's that heart-mind connection that's actually much more power than we realize. And it's like the AllSpark, folks. It's inside of us.
We want to have the mind listen to the heart's promptings, the heart's intuition, and then carry it out. That's when the highest functions of the mind is to be able to do that. And that's how we get more enlightened as we do that.
Well, and to simply just enjoy our lives more. I mean, like, let's face it, there's some, like for me, type A executive, et cetera, I'm always like trying to do stuff. And then the other part of me is like, and then there's time just to enjoy, right? I mean, just to savor that moment of like, oh, like, this is just really wonderful. I'm not doing anything.
Right. You're just sitting in your heart and appreciating yourself and life and each other and the redwood trees that I'm looking at. That's nurturing to not only your soul, but also your body.
Yeah, 100%. So, we talk about, again, protecting our physical hearts, avoiding heart disease and leading to longevity and so forth. I mean, it really is really incredible. And like I said, folks, at the beginning, it's why I am genuinely obsessed. So let's do this, Deborah. Since we're kind of closing out here, I would love, love, love for you to walk us through an exercise.
Okay, I would love to do it. It's because it's so powerful. It's so simple. The things people don't realize is this is too simple. Well, that's the mind thinking. It has to be simple if we're going to change ourselves, our lives, and the planet.
You have to open your heart to it, right?
Right. So this is called quick coherence because as we do it, it's going to get your HRV pattern, your heart rhythm, into a more coherent state. I don't care what you're feeling now, but you can deepen it and you can get more and more coherence as you practice. So acknowledge whatever you're feeling now and shift your focus of attention to the area around your heart. If it helps to keep your focus there by putting your hand on your heart, do that. The center of your chest, your center of your being. Just pretend your breath is flowing in and out of that area, in and out of your heart or chest area, breathing a little slower, a little deeper than normal. It's called heart-focused breathing. Just find an easy rhythm that's comfortable. And as you continue heart-focused breathing, recall or activate a genuine time that you appreciate in life, genuine feeling of gratitude or appreciation. And just breathe that heart quality as you do heart-focused breathing. If you can't feel gratitude or appreciation right at this moment, that's okay. Activate a feeling of calm or ease or care. And just feel that heart quality expanding throughout your body. And it's that simple. Now, when you open your eyes, keep your focus in the heart for a while. You'd even keep breathing at that slower rhythm. And if I had you measuring on the inner balance sensor, you would see your heart rhythm pattern has gotten more synchronized and coherent. You can use this quick coherence technique, simple heart focused breathing, activate a heart quality, whichever one comes easiest. Often it's gratitude, appreciation, or just calm and ease, care for somebody or something. And that will get you into heart coherence. Play with the app and see what happens. You can see it for yourself, but you can use that technique anytime, anywhere.
For free. Oh, I love it. Yeah, no, I definitely feel it. It's like, again, like a little bit of a tingling. So thank you so much for that. And just going back to the HeartMath app, what's been interesting to me is to see other people's coherence. And it's like, oh, I'm doing well, but I mean, I'm so competitive. I'm like, oh my God, other people like 5,000 have, coherence so much more than I do. But it's actually motivating to me because I think, wow, if I'm feeling this sort of wonderful, tingling, grounded, grateful state, and others are like 5,000 times more than me, whoa, like let me work toward that. Like really.
Yeah, well, the app has got lots of it. It shows you when you're in the green zone, which is high coherence or medium coherence. It shows you it gives you coherence points so that you can want to increase your points over time. It shows you your coherence level. It records your progress. I mean, it has a lot of goodies in it that can help you, and it has training in it so that you can be successful.
It really does. And I mean, I really want to shout out, for, again, so many of us, whether, moms, dads, any caregivers, e- executives and so forth to, just to really encourage you to check it out for yourself. And to the extent that you have responsibility for other people, particularly maybe people that are struggling with things like anxiety and depression. But I guess I feel like all of us, like you said at the very beginning, Deborah, we're all in a time and place in the world that is that there is just an increase in stress that none of us are immune to. And so I just think what you guys have created and all the research, having these the tools and technology so easily available is really such a gift to all of us, especially on Valentine's.
Thank you. And we pick up on each other's stress vibes. You watch the news, you're picking.
Oh, that is like the most contagious vibe there is.
Why am I feeling this angst? I didn't do anything. And so when you practice heart coherence, it helps you slough that off. It helps you be more who you are.
Well, and I always contend the more that I have the courage and wisdom and compassion to be who I really am, that also gives permission to others, right? Because that can be a scary thing, right? I mean, not to be kind of weird about it.
You unfold into it as you start replacing the stress and the self-doubt and the self-criticism and the worries and the fears with care, compassion for yourself, kindness for yourself and others. You get empowered. You start to feel more in control. So,
well, then you feel like, you feel like you deserve more. And it's just this whole ripple effect that I've personally experienced. And again, it's why I'm so passionate about sharing all that you guys have to offer, because it really is for next to no cost. It really is a very powerful way to transform our lives. So I'm going to go ahead.
I was going to say thank you so much for being such a champion. It's so genuine and sincere, and I'm sure people feel that.
Yeah, no, I'm feeling it. Like I'm here to make the world a better place, and I've had my own many struggles. So when I discover things like this, I want to shout it from the rooftop. And let me give you the last word. I had it written down. The number one thing, we've covered a lot. So if you want to repeat, just that one thing as we close out. What is that number one thing you want people to take to heart?
I want people to know they can do it. Everybody can do it. We teach this to children in over 1,000 schools. Everybody's got a heart. You have a heart. You can access your heart. You can activate that power. And just thinking that simple technique, heart-focused breathing and activating a heart intention, try it today. You can do it. And I want people to know that there is a training program, an app that you can get that can help guide you on a direct path to awakening your own heart. And the mission of HeartMath is to help awaken and activate the heart of humanity. It starts with each of us.
Amen to that. And at a time when it is really, really needed. So if you're feeling, like the world is dark right now, this is a light for you folks. All right, Deborah Rozman, you are amazing. Okay, guys, it's a wrap. I hope this show was as invigorating and motivating as it was for you, as it was for me. Oh my gosh. And I can't say it strongly enough. I know I've already said it like 400 times, but this stuff works. Like Deborah said, it works. So if you're down on, like I said at the beginning, if you're worried about the hate, stress, and unpredictability in the world, the thing that you genuinely can do is go into these techniques and at least create some safety and gratitude within yourself. I realize it doesn't necessarily change the world instantly and overnight, but it changes your inner world. I mean, it really can instantly. And by doing it day after day, it really can. I know because I've done it myself. It really can change, even transform your experience in life profoundly. So with that, it's a wrap. And I just really appreciate your tuning in. If you have questions, feedback, ideas, please email me, getting open at YourTango.com. If you haven't followed us, please do, whether it's on YouTube, Spotify, iHeart, wherever you get your podcasts. I would be super grateful for you to subscribe, because I bring this show along with Dane and our amazing team to you straight from our hearts. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.